Alright, we have 1.1 examples now. This is part 2. So let's keep going here with some more examples on trig for 1.1, some basic equations. Once again, we need to find common denominators of everything. So I got to factor first. So let's factor. And in order to factor the bottom, I look on the bottom and say, hey, what multiplies to give me negative 6 that adds to give me 1? Well, 3 times negative 2 gives me a negative 6, and 3 plus negative 2 gives me a positive 1. So that actually happens to work. So, because that happens to work, I can factor the bottom, so this is what this bottom looks like. And the reason why that's helpful is, hey, I got an x minus 2 here and here, but I don't here. So I'm going to need to multiply the top and the bottom of this one by x minus 2. I have an x plus 3 here, but I don't have it anywhere else. I'm going to need to multiply the tops and the bottoms of those by x plus 3. So there's x plus 3 there and there. And I'm going to need an x minus 2 here and here, and an x plus 3, because I noticed that there was not an x plus 3 or an x minus 2. So this is what I get. I have an x plus 3 and x minus 2 on the bottoms the whole way across. And now every single thing, because whatever you do on the top, you got to do on the bottom, so now they're all there as well. So now that they're all there, once again, I don't have to worry about the bottoms until the end, right? Not until the end. So let's just worry about the top. So here's my top, and now to do this, I need to FOIL everything in that top. So x times x is x squared. X times 1 is x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 1 is 3. This is actually, if I take that through, remember that's a 5x plus 15, so now when I FOIL, 5x times x is a positive 5x squared. 5x times negative 2 is negative 10x. 15 times x is positive 15x, and 15 times negative 2 is negative 30. And I still have that 3x over there. So now it's all about me combining my like terms, right? It's all about me combining my like terms. So I have an x squared and a 5x squared, so that's 6x squared. I have an x plus 3x is 4x. 4x minus 10x is negative 6x. Negative 6x plus 15x is positive 9x. And I have a 3 and a negative 30, so it's negative 27 with a 3x left over on that side. I notice this is an x squared, so it's a quadratic. So I'm going to minus a 3x. Because it's a quadratic, I want to get everything onto one side that I can. So 9 minus 3 is 6x. So now I notice that they all have a common factor of 3, so I pull them out and use the quadratic formula. So I guess what I decided to do here was, when I'm working ahead, was I realized that I can pull out a 3, but I can't factor it any farther than that anyway, so I'm going to have to do the quadratic formula anyway to solve this problem. If you remember, this is the quadratic formula, negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So 6 is a, 6 is b, and negative 27 is c, so I plug them all in. Everywhere where there's a b, I plugged in my 6. Everywhere where there's an a, I plugged in my 6. And everywhere there's a c, I plugged in my negative 27. So that's a negative 6 out in front. That becomes 36. Negative 4 times 6 times negative 27 is 648. And on the bottom I get a 12. So I get 684 under that root, which I can separate into square root of 4 and the square root of 171. The square root of 4 is 2. And I notice that I can take a factor of 2 out of all those, which gives me negative 3 plus or minus the square root of 171 over 6, which is about 1.68 and negative 2.68 as my final answers. So I have to see if these work. So here's the formula. If I plug in 1.68, do I get 0 on the bottom? No. If I plug in negative 2.68, do I get 0 on the bottom? No. So both answers work. In this problem, I need to get this all by itself in order to solve this problem. So, if I'm going to get this all by itself, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to minus a 64 on both sides. So I get 2 times x to the 5/3 equals negative 64. Need to get the x by itself, so since it's 2 times that, I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So I get x to the 5/3 equals negative 32. And keep in mind, remember, whenever you have these crazy fractional exponents, it's all about finding out what the reciprocal is. So 5/3, right? So the reciprocal is to the 3/5 power. So I have to take that negative 32 to the 3/5 power on both sides. And that gives you negative 8. And you can just type that in your calculator. Negative 32, caret sign, parentheses, 3 divided by 5, and parentheses, that'll give you negative 8. Or you could do negative 32 to the 1/5 and realize, hey, that's 2. Or sorry, negative 2, and negative 2 times 3 is negative 8. Either way, they'll work there to help you out to get your answers. Okay, when we come back here, we will finish up. I didn't want to rush through any of these problems here for you, so but when we come back here, we'll try to finish up with the examples, and we will see how we do with the rest of 1.1 in Trig, Basic Equations.